We have made it, my friends. It is the end of the school year, and even better, it's the end of testing season. I have tips and tricks for you today to get some ideas running in your classroom in these last few weeks of school. Things you can do with your students after that testing season has finished. If your testing season isn't finished yet, I know, I understand. Pause the video. Come back and see me in a few weeks when your testing is all done. You're gonna wanna see all of these great ideas we have for you today. This time of year can be really tricky in the classroom. You're kind of in no man's land. You've finished your assessing, but you definitely still have a few weeks left of school. So what do you wanna do with your students? You know, we have ideas for you. And my first suggestion today is one that I think is so much fun because it's putting the power in your students' hands. And it's an activity that we don't typically have time for during the bulk of our school year, and that is projects. Any kind of projects to get your readers working. Now is the time of year to do those projects because you have the time to spare. I love the idea of a passion project. This is an activity where your students are really getting to build the activity from the ground up. Maybe you let them choose a topic they're interested in or an idea that they really want to learn more about. Maybe your students are going to be designing their project from the ground up. They're going to be choosing their topic, planning what their final presentation is going to look like. Maybe your students are going to be teaching you and their classmates something new. I love the creativity that comes with a passion project because genuinely each project is going to look incredibly different from your students. With passion projects, students can make Google slideshows, they can make physical presentations, or I love a passion project that results in something really, really creative being made in the classroom. I've had students cook for passion projects before, and then we get to reap the tasty benefits in the classroom. So consider letting your students do a passion project during this end of year wrap up. Another really fun project to run this time of year is a book report. Now, I'm not talking your classic old-fashioned, write me a whole essay about your book. I'm talking about the most creative book reports you can think of. I always start with our book club resource, and from there, I place students into reading groups based on reading ability. So they are working with peers who are in a similar place as them in the text that they get to choose. I like to give my book clubs 4 or 5 different choices that are on and around the reading level, so they have the power of choice with which text they want to work with. After they've read and analyzed the book, then it's their turn to get creative. I've done a few different projects, and they're so much fun, and my kids love these. One that I have loved running in my classroom is the book report shoebox. The only downside to that one is you're going to need a lot of shoe boxes. Each student gets a shoebox, and you just have to hope and pray that you have a really angelic parent who will come in and wrap every shoebox in white or brown craft paper so kids can then decorate the shoebox. Rhonda, I will never forget you. Thank you for doing that for me. Students get to decorate their shoeboxes, and each side gets something different. So the top would represent the title of the book. One side would be the main character. The other side might be the antagonist from the text. One side of your shoebox has to represent your setting. Then students are going to put 5 items in their shoebox that represent big ideas, events, or characters from within the text. So much fun. The most important piece of the book report, though, is that students get the opportunity to present them. With my shoebox book reports, I invited the whole school to come walk around and see all the things my students had learned and created in response to their text. It was so much fun having our admin, other grade levels come through to see my kiddos' hard work. Now is the time of year to do those activities. Give them the freedom, the creativity, and the support they need to really show what they've learned this year. Consider a project. My next suggestion for this time of year in your classroom is really dependent on your weather, but I think it's so much fun to get your students outside during this time of year. Get outside, get some vitamin D, and run around with your clipboard and do something academic outside. Whether you're doing your read aloud outside, maybe students are working on some station work outside. I've done activities even as far as doing math problems with chalk on the sidewalk. We've done scavenger hunts. Everyone has found a bug, and we've had to research about our bug. That was a fun one. We had a lot of Crowley friends trying to come back into the building with us. Maybe your students are collecting things in nature and then bringing them inside, building a character out of their nature pieces and then writing a narrative about them. There is so much you can do. going outside with your students. And this time of year is perfect for that. Also, this time of year is right around Earth Day. Some classrooms even celebrate Earth Month in the month of April. We do have a great Earth Day resource for you. Earth Day is the 22nd of April 2022. There's a lot of twos involved there. But Earth Day is right around the corner. And even if you aren't in school on Earth Day, I personally am on spring break on Earth Day this year, doesn't mean you can't continue that learning in your classroom. This resource is a great option. It has reading response passage, opinion writing, riddles, vocabulary. It's chock full of great things to do with your students to celebrate Earth Day. And who says you can't go work on these activities outside in the sunshine? So you've started the projects, you've gotten your students outside as much as possible. What are some other things you can do? Writing is always a fantastic option. You know how we feel about writing here at Not So Wimpy Teacher. Get your students writing. I have a few things that I love to use this time of year, especially now since my students can generate a lot of writing now that we've finished all of our writing instruction for the school year. I love the writing prompts. These are so much fun and they're seasonal, so they're really appropriate for this time of school year. I'll have these guys linked down in the description box for you. I also love to use this time of year for poetry. April is National Poetry Month, so we have a few weeks of that left. And it's just a wonderful season to teach poetry in because of the warm weather. Nature is changing, animals are growing, our kids are growing. Spring and poetry really go hand in hand. I love our poetry units. We have 3 different options, but today I really want to share 2 with you because they're free. We have a 2nd grade and 3rd grade poetry reading unit. Both of them are linked up in the cards and down in the description box, and they are free units. These are fantastic resources. They're 2 weeks of instruction and they have everything you need. So lesson plans, anchor charts, student activities, centers, assessment tools, everything you need is included in these units. Now I have both. I have the 2nd grade and the 3rd grade unit, and I love to pull from them both to support my readers as they are working through poetry. Again, poetry is such a creative and just wonderful opportunity that you can explore through the month of April. And these 2 units give you 2 weeks of instruction. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a great way to move towards the end of the school year with my readers and writers. Another resource that I love to use during these weeks after testing before the end of the school year are the seasonal reading passages. These are monthly passages. We have bundles of each option, and I love these for close reading. Now, close reading is really a great test-taking strategy. It's an important skill for us to teach our students, but who says after testing is over that we have to stop reinforcing that skill? That's a lifelong skill, the ability to close read, respond to text, and then write about text. Because these passages are seasonal, it's really fun to pull out those April and May options from our 2 different resources, April, May. Don't worry, there's a whole year worth of them. I love to pull these out at the end of the year because they also require quite a bit of work for your students. There's passages to analyze. Students are then going to answer multiple choice questions. And each passage also includes a really great kind of like visual activity, whether they're going to be sequencing information from the text, maybe they're going to be comparing and contrasting, really helping your students review all of those great thinking map skills and taking information from a text and synthesizing it into another format. Each passage also includes a fantastic writing prompt to get your writers working hard. These seasonal reading passages are a great option for that time in our school year, post-testing, before those final days. My final suggestion for you today to fill those weeks between testing and the end of the school year is to try something new. I mean, think about it. You have all of your behavior expectations in place. You know your kiddos inside and out, and your kiddos know you and your expectations and what you are looking for them to do throughout the day. It's really the perfect scenario to start testing out things for next school year. Maybe you have some new ideas for how you want to run writing centers, or maybe you're just now dipping your toe into our writing units and you want to give Writers Workshop a try. Use this time of year to test out those things you might be considering for next year. It's a perfect control environment because everything you look to happen in your classroom is already in place. Your students are masters at being your students. Use them to help you test things for next year. Alrighty, I hope I've given you some great ideas for things you can do in the classroom as we are in this season at the end of our school year. Get your students outside. Maybe you're learning about Earth Day. Maybe you're practicing some poetry with our 3 second grade and 3rd grade poetry units. Maybe your students are exploring their passions and creating some fantastic work at the end of the school year. Anything I've mentioned, you know it's going to be down in the description box, and I will have cards popping up for those poetry units as well. And as always, let us know down in the comments, what do you want more of, or what ideas do you want to share with our community? I hope you guys have a not so wimpy day and a not so wimpy into your school year. Bye!